on everything going on, but this was a big win. It's a road win. I know people are going to sort of devalue the win. I saw a bit of it. It's Jacoby Brissett, and the Patriots aren't that great. Listen, man, you got to fly across the country. 10 a.m. game. You know what that does to your body clock, Dave. You're tired and you can't figure out why. But no, in all honesty, a road win or even a win at home, you've said it. Everybody who's been in the league says, man, it is hard to win in this league, whether you're at home or on the road. And it really doesn't matter whether you're playing the Patriots or the Vikings or the Jets or whoever the Panthers. If you're not on your game, you're going to get beat. And there was a chance they could have been beat. They didn't run away with this, but despite what was going wrong, and we'll talk about everything, the good and the bad, the ugly, they found a way to win, and that's what good teams do.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, here's going into this game, it's very rare that I'm like, I think I know how this game is going to go or how it's going to be won. And one of the things that, I was like, okay, they're not going to have Ken Walker. I respect the heck out of Charbonnet, and you saw why yesterday. I mean, his feet are incredible. Plus, he's like a bulldozer. But their front, I mean, they have these space eaters up front. They're 310, Godshaw, and the other guy, I think it was Jennings. It was like 310, 320, 330. Then they have three linebackers, 250, 255. They're backbreakers. Mm-hmm. And then, they've got a couple of safeties that are just playmakers. They make plays all over the field. So, yeah, I was like, I think they can be had through the air. And I was like, if we're going to beat them, I think they got to put the ball in the air. And that's why I was so thrilled on, DK's first touchdown, because, I saw him running free and I'm like, oh, yes, that's exactly what they needed to do. And they did. And Geno had an incredible day. I didn't think they were going to be able to do that, as far as run the ball. And then on the other side, I thought, well, it's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle up front. I mean, this is a really good running back. And he found his way a couple of times. I don't think it was a great performance at all as far as run defense goes.
No.
But that's kind of how, they outrushed the Bengals by 100 yards. So, yeah, and they did the same thing to us. So I thought it was going to be tough to win, but I felt like, on offense, that was the way to beat them, and that's what they did.
Well, and it was, we not joked, we mentioned Jason Myers, huge yesterday.
3 for 3.
3 for 3, and they were huge moments. But this was Geno's game. This was Geno. No matter how you feel about Geno, you think he's a journeyman, you think he's great, you think he stinks, whatever you think. You can't look at that game objectively and not say he put the team on his back. He put the team on his back, considering what he was faced with. You had no running game. The running game was absent. It was invisible. It did not exist. So he didn't have the threat of a run. He didn't have to keep the defense honest, as you like to say, to account for the run. The O-line, and we'll get into that, I thought they took a step back from a week where we were questioning, okay, bad first half. They pulled it together in the second half. I thought yesterday was rough. He was under constant pressure. He had 5 drops from his receivers. 5 drops. And he still went 33 of 44, 327 yards and a touchdown. He was spectacular. Again, I get that he's polarizing for some reasons. Some hate him, some love him, some think he's a journeyman 500 quarterback, he's a backup, whatever. Yesterday's game, isolate that. You have to acknowledge how huge he was. And I would make the case that was his best game as a Seattle Seahawks, considering what he was faced with, what he was able to produce, where it took place, on the road, all that. I think that was his best game.
Yeah, and I think he's established himself as far as just being a cool customer. You talk about last week and then, this week. I tend to agree with you. I guess there's a couple of he took them on 5 game-winning drives last year. And, so there were some good games in there. But, the last 2 games he's gone 75%, 72%. So incredibly accurate. And then, there was a play where he got hit and the ball kind of fluttered and almost got picked off, but DK was open. Yeah. He was open deep. That could have been another touchdown there. So, and I felt bad for him, but I think my favorite play, and we talked to Ryan Grubb afterwards, the sprint out at the end in overtime, where they sprint out to the right, and then him and Tyler almost at the exact same time both turned and just sprinted to their left, and that's when he hits Tyler to get down, in field goal position. And I talked to Grubb, and I'm like, that wasn't by design, was it? And he was like, oh, no. And I was like, well, I'd like to think you drew it up that way. But no, that was just, and it's even more impressive that Geno and also that Tyler Lockett and him are so tuned in that at the exact same time, they both just headed for the left sidelines and were able to throw the ball, get the completion and get them down to field goal range. So, yeah, I wouldn't argue with you that was, on the road. I don't know if it's the toughest place to play, but I know that team is pretty well put together. Jacoby Brissett, whatever you want to say about him, one of the things about him is that he has one of the lowest interception percentages to touchdown in the league. I think only Aaron Rodgers. And so he takes care of the ball. He did a good job, sort of victimizing the defense where it's like, do I rush him because he's going to run, or do I stay on coverage? And he got them, he's throwing balls over people's heads. I thought he did a good job. I thought he was a tough quarterback to beat, but I thought Geno was pretty much the game ball winner.
Yeah, he's had, taken the team down the field for a game-winning drive. You mentioned the 5 from last year, but I'm looking at it from what he was faced with from the jump, where he was just under pressure. They couldn't run the ball, receivers dropping balls, yet he put together this whole game and then into overtime and made some crucial plays. I mean, he's
unflappable.
Yeah, for me, that, it's subjective. Somebody may have a different game in mind, but for me, that's the best game he's played as a Seahawk. Considering the circumstances and what he was faced with and what he produced, was outstanding.